I am over the moon excited to have such a beautiful, beautiful goddess. She's a womb priestess, a healer, energy medicine practitioner. Her name is Emmi Mutale, and I just love her so much. Emmi, it's so great to have you here with me today. I'm so excited to have this conversation about the goddess with you.
Oh, bless you, Schamet. Thank you so much for having me as part of this beautiful gathering. It's really a blessing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Every experience I've had with Emmi has just been so awakening, aligning, and we've had many transformational conversations that I leave feeling elevated and better for having the conversation. Emmi, you open me up to my inner goddess, and my heart opens every time I see you. So you are a goddess, and I'm so excited to have this goddess conversation. So, Emmi, the
Sure.
first the first question that I have for you today is, what does the goddess mean to you?
That's a big and beautiful question. But essentially, the goddess to me is really re-remembering our own divinity, re-remembering the fact that the goddess lives within all of us and that the goddess lives around us as well. And for me, the goddess is essentially an aspect of the Great Mother. I work with the Great Mother energy a lot. Great Mother being this, this entity or being from which everything has been birthed. That really challenges the more traditional Christian notion of the male God who created everything and who at the same time really challenges the thousands of years of patriarchy that we have been living in and allows us to really lift the veils of illusion around the kinds of systems and structures that we have grown up in, that we have grown up trusting in, that are more and more proving to be institutions that actually don't necessarily have our best interest at heart. And really deepening to the understanding that when we connect with the goddess energy, with the great mother energy inside of ourselves, all around us as well, we truly start to tap into our divine essence, our soul essence, and the fact that we are incredibly magical, powerful creator beings, that our bones, our cells, our veins, all, everything about us is an absolute miracle. And the more we start to embody that knowing within a context where we often have been taught that we are powerless, that we don't know how to create worlds, we don't know how to bring through miracles into our lives. It is really about taking back that power and standing in our sovereignty, in the understanding that we are very, very powerful
Mm-hmm.
beings who coexist in a world where everything has meaning and where we live together with a whole vast variety of sacred living beings, including Mother Earth herself. She herself is a living, breathing organism on her own ascension journey. And everything around us is also sacred and has a soul, from the soil that we walk on to all the animals that we coexist with, to the trees, to the mycelium. We are all one. And the goddess within allows us to really, in a deep embodied way, to start to tap into that knowing, brush aside the untruths that we have been taught, and really connect with that source within, that truth, the energy of love that is the most powerful elixir on our planet.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. You and I are so aligned. Like your words are poetry for my soul. I just love it. And what does the grand awakening, we say we're in the awakening is here, the awakening is now. And, and in the relationship to awakening the goddess? Like, can you deepen into that, into the awakening?
Essentially, it really is about remembering who we truly are,
Yeah.
reactivating these ancient cellular DNA-based memories of our divinity, and really having the courage to stand in our own truth, even if it goes against the mainstream narrative. And the mainstream narrative can be incredibly powerful in terms of it brainwashes us to believe in certain untruths about ourselves, about humanity as a collective, about the future of our planet. And really starting to, at a deep, deep level, understand and embody that we are these conscious creator beings and the future is ours to create. And these systems and structures that I mentioned earlier that really don't have our best interests at heart. And here I'm referring to, and this might be a bit controversial for some, but I'm going to say it anyway because we really need to be aware of this. So these are systems and structures that relate to the financial systems within which we operate, the economic systems within which we operate, the educational systems within which most of us operate, as well as the political systems and the medical and pharmaceutical systems that we have been brainwashed to trust in wholeheartedly. So it's really understanding that a lot of the information that we are kind of fed on a daily basis through social media, through TV, through magazines, through adverts, is really about keeping us, to a large extent, enslaved in a system that wants us be these productive members of society, but who don't really truly understand our power, our true source, and our true essence. And very closely aligned with that is the fact that we're now seeing a massive, massive awakening of sacred feminine power, of this divine feminine principle on our planet that has been suppressed and oppressed for thousands of years because of patriarchy, because of toxic and wounded masculinity. And what this then means is that we are en masse waking up to the fact that creation, birth, nurturance of new life is essentially and fundamentally a feminine principle. No matter what they're trying to teach us and confuse us about right now in terms of the global paradigms and narratives around gender dysphoria and birthing people and all of that, birth is a feminine principle. And that is why it harks back to the goddess. And that is why it harks back to the concept of the Great Mother. The idea of woman having been born or carved out of the rib of man, as is perpetuated in the Bible, and that so many people take for granted globally in so many countries, still in 2024, actually could be considered a blasphemy. It is a very good example of the oppression of the feminine, of this global attack on the womb that we're also seeing on such a large scale at the moment. And for me, the awakening process is really about reclaiming that sacred feminine power that lives inside each one of us, whether we are women or men, and really learning to work with that energy in a very powerful, conscious way. And again, in 100% alignment with that, reactivating our memories of what is called womb cosmology, a term that was spoken at length about by my womb awakening teachers, Saren and Azar Bertrand, in their beautiful book, Womb Awakening. And this is really the understanding, again, aligned with the fact that birth is the feminine principle, that the womb is really the core of all creation, the core of all manifestation, the birthplace of the miracle of life. And women, as holders of physical wombs, are revered or ought to be revered for the power to birth, for the power to create new life. And we've forgotten about that to a large extent. And through this principle, within womb cosmology, women are intricately connected to the womb of Gaia. So, this incredible life force of Mother Earth that nurtures all of us, that nourishes all living beings on our planet, as well as to the primordial black hole or the womb of the creatrix, from which everything in our universe, in the multiverse, has been birthed. And
Mm,
this birth, this creation, is the red thread that connects all of us in this beautiful, beautiful sacred tapestry of life on our planet and beyond.
thank you. Emmy, I know that you're very passionate about your connection to Mother Earth. When I say awakening the goddess within, what does that mean for you in relationship to being connected to Mother Gaia specifically?
That's a beautiful question. And for me, that really harks back to the understanding that we are en masse as humanity, really awakening, reawakening to this understanding of womb cosmology. And womb cosmology is a theme that was spoken at length about by my womb awakening teacher, Sarah and Azra Bertrand, in their beautiful, beautiful book, Womb Awakening. And this really is about remembering, re-remembering the ancient knowing that the womb is the birthplace of all creation, the birthplace of new life, which is a miracle in itself, the birthplace of new ideas, the birthplace of manifestation, and the birthplace of ancient feminine wisdom in and of itself. And women, as holders of physical wombs, are not only the source of new life, something that we very often forget about and don't really truly revere and understand at a really deep level, but we are really the birthers of miracles. We bring new souls onto this planet, into this world.
Mhm.
But through our wombs, we are also intricately connected to the womb of Gaia, the womb of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth, of course, is our home in these physical 3D bodies, in these lifetimes. And she is the one who holds the principle of creation, this feminine principle of creation for all of us. She roots us, she grounds us, she holds us, she protects us. And it is through her life giving principle that we receive our sustenance and our maintenance as human beings as well. And at the very core of Mother Earth is a womb space, a sacred, holy womb space that we can connect to, whether we are women or men. But by virtue of being a woman and being a carrier of a womb, whether that is still a physical womb or an energetic womb, if you have had hysterectomy, we are intricately
That was
connected.
gonna be my next question. Yeah. Oh, that's funny because
Yeah.
I've had women ask me that have gone through menopause or have had their surgery done, if that is still an energetic um power inside of them. So can you explain that a little bit more if you don't have a womb?
Yeah, absolutely. So the energetic blueprint or the etheric womb will always be within you, whether you've had your physical womb removed or not, or parts of your womb removed or not. And we can all learn to connect with this etheric womb space any time in our lives. It is never too late to start that work and to consciously connect. And it's also important to mention that men can also connect to this energy, even if they don't have physical wombs. They have still been birthed into this world through a womb, and they are intricately connected to that energy because of that. And of course, we all live within womb consciousness, collective womb consciousness, which allows for every single one of us to be able to tap into this energy, this innate birthing manifestation power, alchemical power of the womb.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. That makes sense to me. Yeah, thank you. I like that explanation too. I know that's going to be an important one for many people watching this. I know I've had the question so many times, and I myself did not know exactly how to answer that. Now I do. Thank you. um, and what do you think about why is the awakening of the goddess so important at this time?
Mm. Well, it is very, very important because it really allows us at a very deep level embody the fact that we are all divine,
Yeah.
that we all carry goddess energy within ourselves, whether we are women or men. And through that goddess energy, we are intricately linked and aligned to the great mother energy. And the great mother energy is really the energy from which everything has been birthed. She is the embodiment of creation. And I know that this goes against the more traditional Christian ideology of a male god who created everything on our planet. And I know it goes against the idea, the biblical idea of a woman having been birthed from the rib of man. But when we really truly start to go deeper into this notion of creation, birth, being ultimately a feminine principle, we start to understand that there is absolutely no way a woman could have been carved out of the rib of man. All humans emerge out from the womb space of a woman. And this happens not just within human family, but it also happens within all animals on our planet. There might be some exceptions in terms of insects or creatures living at the bottom of the sea, but essentially, birthing and creation is a feminine principle. And when we awaken the goddess within, we really start to reclaim back this understanding that it is women who create new life. It is women who are vessels and channels to new souls being birthed onto our planet. And no matter how much confusion they are trying to sow amongst us at the moment, no matter how much the narrative is trying to push the idea that we should no longer talk about mothers, but of birthing people, and that men can absolutely have wombs implanted in their bodies and give birth as well, or that men indeed can breastfeed through chemical concoctions that start to produce some sort of a chemical liquid from their breasts.
I did
It
not
is,
know this was happening. Oh my
this is
goddess.
absolutely happening.
Wow.
This is happening. It is actually a global attack on the womb space. And I know this will be quite shocking to some people to hear, but a part of the awakening journey that humanity is on at the moment is really about understanding what is actually happening, sometimes behind the scenes and sometimes very, very explicitly. So this whole paradigm and narrative around gender dysphoria and encouraging kindergarteners to start to think of themselves as the opposite sex from which they have been born into is a part of this patriarchal narrative of trying to suppress the feminine, of trying to suppress the woman and the mother, and of really attacking the womb on a global scale. And the awakening process that is happening on our planet really allows us to lift the veils around this, to ground into the truth, to ground into our own sovereignty around this, and ultimately to ground into love, which is the most powerful elixir on our planet that exists and is available to all of us. And it is through love, which to me is also connected to the goddess, that is really the foundational energy of the goddess, regardless of what culture or society or context we come from. Love is the essential foundation of goddess, of the great mother energy as well. And this is what will help us as a collective to see beyond the untruths, to see beyond the programming and the conditioning, and to really start to consciously co create a world that values and reveres the feminine, but also sees the feminine and the masculine as both playing hugely important roles in the creation of the new earth.
Yeah, as we're delving into this, I just recently was listening to one of the goddess conversations that I had with one of the speakers, and he was talking about how God and goddess are the same, that they're the same energy, and that there's no distinction between the feminine and the masculine. And I do understand that. And however, at the same time, I think, well, there is, though, at the same time, like ultimately, it was Neil Donald Walsh, and we all love Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, right? And I was just watching it today, right? And so, and I know I resonate with what he's saying. I'm not going to say I know he's right, because he says he doesn't even say he's right. He opens it up to the conversation too. But it's like, yes, but at the same time, to me, there is a difference between God and goddess and the feminine and the masculine. And, even though we separate it, it's one, but there is a distinction. And like, so what you're saying, I'm really resonating with. I was wondering if you could kind of delve and dive into that a little bit deeper, in the difference between God and goddess. It's a big question.
Another big question. Yes, it is, Schamet. Yeah. Well, again, I think it depends on the context within which we're looking at these
Yeah.
two concepts. For example, in India, in Hinduism, the gods and the goddesses would be, I would imagine, pretty equal and, contain the same kind of powers and the energies as well. But there is also a very big distinction between the gods and the goddesses, and they have their very specific roles and responsibilities as well. And I often approach this more from the perspective of human rights and women's rights as well, and from the idea and the fact that we have lived in a patriarchal paradigm now, especially in the West, but really globally for thousands of years. And within this paradigm, women have been systematically, often ruthlessly, suppressed and oppressed. And our power has been very, very systematically pushed down in so many different ways. And we have been taught that we are lesser beings than men. Now, that might even sound a bit silly in 2024, but if you start to look deeper into our trauma imprints, the kind of beliefs that women hold onto about themselves, we really very clearly see that this generational thinking, this way of understanding ourselves and the way we describe ourselves and the kinds of beliefs we hold onto about ourselves. And these are deeply ingrained in our cellular memory. We often consider ourselves lesser beings than men. And that might come through in terms of not asking for what we want, not asking for what we are actually worth, whether we are working in a company or running our own business, or simply being paid less than men are being paid in a company or in a factory or wherever it might be. At a deeper level, of course, we start to go down the path of gender-based violence and the many, many myriad of examples in which women are on a daily basis violated against, from femicide to early marriages on the African continent. In many countries, that is still very common, to the example of foot binding in China, to female genital mutilation, which still exists in a big part of the world, to the way women are expected to dress and behave in certain contexts within the home, outside of the home. And rape as another example, rape as a weapon of war, but also rape as a way to dominate a woman and really in the most hideous way violate the holiest of holies, her vagina and her womb. So these are really, just a tip of the iceberg, a few examples of how women continue to be suppressed on our planet in 2024. And also, in terms of the God and Goddess conversation, if we look at the main religious texts that are available to us in the predominant global world religions, Christianity, Islam, and so on, the role of the woman has been to a large extent diminished. And if not completely diminished, then completely distorted. Think about Mother Mary or Virgin Mary, as she's talked about in the Bible, and how she's always described as this meek, subservient woman who doesn't have a lot to say, but simply gave birth to the Son of God. My goodness me, Mother Mary is the most biggest spiritual badass that there is. I mean, she was the ultimate womb alchemist, womb shamana, who created Jesus by herself within her womb. And how much more powerful can you get than that? And she actually played a massive role in teaching people spirituality and in teaching people the mastery of their bodies, of their energetic bodies, of their spiritual bodies. I mean, come on. The same with Mary Magdalene, portrayed as a prostitute. And in fact, a soulmate to Jesus, an equivocal soulmate to Jesus, a powerful priestess in her own right, also involved in alchemical womb mysteries. And so was Jesus, by the way. He had a very beautiful balance of feminine and masculine energy inside him. That was a true marriage of the feminine and masculine aspects that existed within him. And all of these three powerful teachers continue to guide us from beyond in so many ways and continue to teach us these alchemical womb practices and energy practices when we are open to that, when we're willing to allow that in. So for me, there is definitely a distinct difference between the god and the goddess. Both have their own unique roles and responsibilities, but neither is suppressed. Both are revered and understood to be important components of the whole that exists within every single one of us and that also exists outside of us. And the more we can marry the god and goddess energies within ourselves, the more we can shine the light to the external world as well.
So true. I love that. What a beautiful, beautiful, informed answer. Thank you for elaborating. I agree with you 100%. So good. So good. And let me see. I think that you have answered all of my questions, you beautiful goddess. Is there any other wisdom that you would like to share, or any kind of meditation or anything like that that you would like to share with those that are watching us right now?
Sure, I'd love to. Would you like me to take you through a small womb connection process?
Oh my goodness. Yes, please. Or actually, oh my goddess. Yes,
Okay.
please.
Perfect. Let's do that. And
Yeah,
again,
and
please, yeah,
let's invite everyone to join us too.
absolutely. Yeah. So yes, everybody, whether you are a man or a woman watching this, I really invite you to flow with me on this one. Try it out for yourself. And again, if you no longer have a physical womb or you are indeed a man watching this, then I invite you to connect with the energy of the womb, either through the collective womb consciousness or through the energetic blueprint of the womb, the etheric womb that still lives inside of all women. Okay. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels safe and good for you to do so. And place your hands over your lower belly, over your womb space. And for men, this would be known as the hara or the tantien. So just place your hands over the lower belly. And take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. And really allow your breath to bring you more fully into the present moment, more fully into your precious body temple, and more fully into our sacred container that's being created here. Allow yourself to take the deepest breath you've taken all day today. And allow the out breath to come through as a sigh or a sound. And with your next in breath, bring your awareness inwards and connect with your womb. Smile at her, say hello to her, and just notice how your womb might be coming through to you today. You might see the actual organ, the physical womb, with your mind's eye. You might see an abstract shape or a circle or a triangle, or you might just see a color. You may just simply sense her presence, know that it's there, or hear something. There's no right or wrong way here. Just see how it comes through for you. And as you're connecting with the womb, imagine and allow your breath to flow into the womb space and out of the womb space a couple of times. And notice what might start to happen energetically as you allow your breath to flow in and out of this sacred cauldron of feminine wisdom and power. Tune into the energy inside of your womb space and simply notice, simply observe what is there right now. Is the energy feeling light and flowing, clear? Or is it perhaps a bit more stagnant, a bit more sluggish? Again, there's no right or wrong here. The energy is simply the way it is right now. And as you're connecting with your womb, you can take it a little bit deeper and ask your womb, what do you need? And allow the response to just arise organically. You might hear something, you might sense something, you might have energy flooding into the womb space. It's different for all of us. And if it's hard for you to tune in at first, to hear anything, sense anything, that's also okay. Connecting with the womb is like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. So I'm going to let you spend just a moment longer in silence with your womb in the velvety darkness, sacred womb, velvety darkness of your womb space, and simply listen, observe. Beautiful. I invite you to take one more deep, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Thank your womb space for the connection. that may be very new to some of you. And then thank yourself for flowing with me, for going within and trying out this womb connection process.
Oh, that was beautiful, Emmy. Mm, I feel so much
Thank you.
calmer. Oh, it was lovely. Yeah, wow, really powerful work. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a beautiful way of grounding and rooting into our bodies and really allowing us to anchor ourselves to one of the most powerful parts of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And is this a good practice for women that have fibroids or, any kind of feminine issues that they're, yeah, dealing with? Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Very often, what happens is if we are disconnected from our femininity, if we're suppressing our feminine energy and really living more in the masculine energy, or if we have experienced a lot of trauma that relates to relationships or pregnancy or birth, or we've experienced violence of some sort, a lot of that gets stuck inside the womb space and over time starts to manifest as fibroids, for example, or tumors or growths inside the womb space. So, learning to connect with the womb is incredibly powerful. It allows this part of our bodies that so often is ignored and not talked about very much to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel like it's being given the respect that it requires and deserves and loves as well. And the connecting is the first step. Of course, there are many, many things we can do to actually work with the fibroids, to work with the energetic conditions inside the womb and the body, and to consciously start to clear out the trauma that has led to the fibroids in the first place. But yes, connecting with the womb is the very first step that we can all start to practice. I would recommend on a daily basis. Doesn't have to take long. A minute or two of connection and the energy in your womb will start to shift and change and transmute itself very, very quickly.
Thank you. And can you tell us a little bit about, what you do and what you offer as a womb priestess?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my soul mission, really, or a big part of my soul mission, is to connect 1 million women to the wisdom and power of their wombs, the power that creates new worlds. And what I essentially do is support women to reconnect with the ancient feminine wisdom that lives inside our wombs, inside our bones and our cellular memory, and to clear and heal trauma and wounds that stop us from loving ourselves exactly the way we are, and to really help women to step into their sacred feminine power so that they can speak their truths, shine their light, and walk their paths and share their gifts with the world unapologetically. And I work with women one on one. I also run group programs and I run retreats. And perhaps the easiest way to connect with me is just simply to schedule a sacred energy activation with me, which is a complimentary 40-minute session with me where we get to dive deeper into what is going on for you in your life and what you wanted to be and become and birth. And then we look into how I could potentially support you on your journey. And I also have, if I may just very briefly mention, a 5-week Way of the Womb program coming up, which is a wonderful way to consciously befriend the womb and start to work with her in a powerful way. And this is starting on the 17th of May.
Oh, beautiful. That sounds wonderful. I'll definitely put a link below this video so that that people can get in touch with you. And I understand you've got a free gift for everyone as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a 7-part goddess activation meditative journey, and it's aligned with the chakras, and it really allows you to connect not just with the chakras within yourself, but the specific goddess energies that are aligned with these chakras. And it's a beautiful way to go within, tune into what is going on internally, connect with the womb space with every single activation as well, and really start to bring through that goddess energy for you as well.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. Thank you so much. Free gifts are always nice and gives everyone a little taste of who you are and what you do. Thank you so much, Emmi. Is there any last and final words of wisdom?
Well, maybe the most important thing is to really understand that it's never too late to heal. It's never too late to consciously start to work on yourself or to consciously form a connection with your womb space. And the healing powers that we hold within our bodies, the healing powers we hold within our wombs are incredibly powerful. And when we learn to work with these alchemical energies, we can really shift and change our lives really quite quickly as well. And by changing our own lives, we can also have a beautiful impact on the collective reality on our planet and really truly start to birth the new earth, this reality that we are all wanting to dream into being at the moment as well.
Yes, it starts with us, doesn't it? Starts with our own healing and then it goes out from there. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I enjoyed every moment. Thank you so much, Emmi.
Thank you, Schamet. Thank you for having me as part of this. Appreciate you and the work that you do as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.